You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots, you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit. And most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest and repeat offender, Welcome back, Mary Walters, Realty Pro 100. Welcome.
Good morning.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Take a look at what we're going to celebrate today. There's a lot of good stuff to celebrate today. American Eagle Day. Yep. Did you watch those eagles being hatched up in Big Bear? Did you see that at all? Mm-mm. Yeah, there was some. They had some cameras. I don't know how you get cameras up that high or what they do, but a couple of the local radio stations about a month or two ago had cameras right on the nest, and they were watching the gestation period of these eagles up there. It was really pretty cool to watch, although it might kind of be like watching a soccer game, right? Nothing happened for all this time. There's just like what little bit. I shouldn't say that because I know there's a lot of people like soccer. Especially are you a soccer fan?
I'm not. When you said soccer, I was like, oh yeah, slow and painful.
Well, exactly. Watching paint dry, watching grass grow. It's all the same thing. Soccer. That is slow and painful is a good term. National Hike with a Geek Day. Yeah, right. I don't even hike. The closest I get to hiking is up to the bar for another drink, maybe. National Ice Cream Soda Day. That one I'll go for. That even looks. That picture looks good, guys. That's a nice looking ice cream soda. And National Vanilla Milkshake Day. Vanilla milkshake is really good if you add. Someone's gonna think I'm an alcoholic or something. I talk more about alcohol. Put a little Kahlua over the top of that.
Ooh, yeah.
Wouldn't that be good? Now you better be careful of this stuff because you might be on overload with the bachelorette parties and things.
Yeah, that's true.
So
sounds good though.
Still sounds good, exactly. Maybe the next day it might be a little more challenging, but let's take a look and see what the markets are doing. Wait, they're closed, so we have relief today. They are not going to go down today, I promise you. Now, we can't guarantee very much of anything when it comes to markets, but I guarantee the markets will not drop today. Overseas, maybe, but they're closed here in the U.S. So no problems there. Hopefully the president won't be going on another bike ride today, so that might be a little dangerous. He might be worse at a bike ride than I am. I'm just throwing that out there. Not too many people are as bad as me in that one. Should we look at gas prices? Let's take a look at that one. $6.40 a gallon is gasoline in California. $6.40 a gallon. So don't say anything, Josh. At $5.64, you're not too bad over there. $4.98 is the national average. I did get a charter of some of our local areas on gasoline. I saw that one this morning. I don't know if I want to share that with anybody because we like good news on Ron Siegel Radio. LA County, $6.41. Ventura, $6.38. Orange County, $6.34. San Bernardino, $6.32. Riverside, $6.30 a gallon. And think about that. what is it, a week, 10 days from now, we have another gas tax increase. So gas prices are going to go up just because of the taxes on gasoline. Now, think about this, because I hear this in the news a lot. And yes, I did study economics in the last century over at Chapman College. Wasn't even a university then. But here's the issue. Do we have a demand problem on gasoline, or do we have a supply problem on gasoline? Probably a supply problem. Well, it started the day that the president won the election, and got even worse when he was inaugurated, when he cut back and put in all kinds of regulations. But here's the issue. If it's a supply problem, what good does it do giving more money to the people? Will that not cause, but you give more money to something you want to encourage. Does that make sense? So if you want to encourage me to go buy a house, give me money to buy a house and I'll go buy more houses, right? If you want to encourage me to go to the movies, give me a 2-for-1 ticket. I'll go to the movies. I hate movies, but I'll go anyway, right? I might buy tickets to give them away. But when we throw money at something, we're encouraging it. So if we have a gas tax holiday, do you think that that's going to help the gas problem? Might feel good on your bank account, but it might cause more problems because more people are going to go buy gas, which is going to be more demand for gas. The supply is still short. So we're going to still have a problem there. So the idea of a gas tax holiday solving the problem doesn't solve anything. But unfortunately, too many of our politicians don't understand that. We hear the president talking about the idea of Exxon making so much extra money. Really? Did you look at their financial statements from Q4 to Q1? They dropped, actually. So when gas prices went up, Exxon's profits actually went down. But what about the states? Do you think their profits and the governments, state, federal, local, do you think they made more money or less money when gas prices went up? They make more money because their gas prices are a percentage. Their gas taxes and fees are a percentage of gas. Think about that. So when you hear these folks talking about the idea, gas tax holiday, or the oil companies are gouging the people, well, or there's 9,000 leases that are not being explored upon. That's another great one. 9,000 Now, do you think at these kind of gas prices that the oil companies would not be trying to get as much product to market as they possibly could? If you believe that they're greedy, and I do, and most people do, if you believe they're greedy, then if they had 9,000 leases that they could produce oil on at $109 a barrel as of the end of the week, they'd be doing it. So what is the give with that one? Well, maybe there's no oil on them. Maybe they can't get to the oil. Maybe they don't have the way of collecting it. But you don't hear that from the president or from the administration, do you? Only here on Ron Siegel Radio. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, marriage, is it a good thing or a bad thing? We're going to talk about that. Yeah, it's a little different spin. You may not have heard about it. No, you can't look at me because I've been married 35 years. I'm 35 years into a life sentence, so don't look at me at this one. Why achieving the American dream of homeownership can be more difficult for some Americans. What FICO score do you need to buy a home? And the monthly market report. What difference does a week make? You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Let's take a look at what rates are doing. Well, we look at them every week. Freddie Mac came out with their numbers, and that's going to be a big issue as we go through the broadcast today. 5.78%. So think about this one. June 2nd, 5.09. June 9th, 5.23. June 16th, 5.78. And the real number is OBMMI. They provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. 5.95 as of Friday. 5.95 is what rates locked at on Friday. Jumbo 5.534, FHA 5.689. The VA loan for the best of the best, 5.52. And for those of you out in rural areas, 5.618. That's the USDA loan. No down payment on that one. So that's a good product out there. Before the break, I mentioned the concept of marriage, good thing or bad. Well, here's the issue. Here's what I'm referring to. No, don't go there. I'm talking home ownership. This is a home and finance radio show. No one's going to ever refer to me as was it Dr. Ruth or whoever it was that gave all that advice. You ever hear of Dr. Ruth?
No.
No.
who's that?
Okay, I'm old. We know. Josh, you know Dr. Ruth? No, Josh doesn't know either. Okay, so you got to use analogies that people understand at least. I guess that's a problem here. So here's the issue. As we see interest rates increasing, like I just shared with you, should that stop you from buying a house? Well, the answer is certainly no. You're going to live in a house, 10 years. That's about the average number right now as we live in our properties, about 10 years. That's a good term, especially, Orange County, California, we don't stay married that long, but that's a different story, right? But 10 years. So you marry the house. Now, the mortgages, we're not keeping our mortgages anywhere near that long. You date the mortgage. You don't need to keep the mortgage. You don't even have to, one night stand is fine, right? Just don't worry about it. So where the mortgage is, if you can afford the payment, buy the house. Real estate values are going up. No one's talking about real estate values dropping. It hasn't been a topic of discussion other than people that are worried that a recession equals a real estate value drop. And historically, it doesn't. We'll get into that in just a minute. But the bottom line here is get the property. Now, if interest rates have gone up so much that you can't afford it, well, take a look at the examples that we have shared. And Josh is going to put these across the screen for you. RSRPaymentAssist.com. RSRPaymentAssist1.com. RSRPaymentAssist2.com. All three of those are examples that we've done for families recently, showing them how if they've got good qualifications, they've got a good down payment, they've got good credit, how they can actually get below market interest rates. Why do we want below market interest rates? Because that's what affects the payment. The interest rate has more of an effect on the payment than the price. In fact, in those examples, we show you how you can pay more for the property and have a lower mortgage payment because of the payment assistance. Think about that concept. So marry the property, date the mortgage. That's the Mortgage Minute brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 306-1990, 800-306-1990. So every month about this time, we are lucky enough to have Mary Walters from Realty Pro 100 come in and chat with me and show me that, I'm a bit old, and some of the analogies I use doesn't even resonate, because they're things that happened way back when. Even the theme song that I use, right? I mean, at least,
No.
have you ever even looked? I mean, I know every one of those episodes are on YouTube or something. Do you ever look at Welcome Back, Cotter?
You keep
Still-
saying that. I'm just like, I don't even know what that is.
Okay.
Every single time you mention it, it's like I hear it for the first time.
It's funny. It was a great sitcom, and it was back in the day when you can actually, make fun of things and people and not be ridiculed. But right now, monthly market. I mean, is there anything different, anything more in the world of real estate right now than interest rates?
That's the big topic.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Kind of scary right now.
Mhm.
Do you think it's going to kill the market, or do you think it's just going to normalize?
No, it's normalizing. It's slowing it down from where it was.
Is that bad or good?
It's good, honestly. We can't sustain how it was the last 2 years.
That makes it pretty tough.
Mhm.
Okay, so Sam Cotter, mortgage rates continue to inch downward. Well, I guess you can tell that was designed on June 2nd. So that was the last time we saw mortgage rates inch.
Already old data.
Yeah, already old data,
2
right?
weeks
So
ago.
2 weeks, and I'm trying to find my note here, because I think that date, yes, mortgage rates did tick downward. You got to love some of these stories.
That one day.
1 basis point. They went from 5.1 to 5.09 that week. And then everything's changed. But according to Mr. Cotter, here, not Mr. Cotter, Mr. Cotter, chief economist Freddie Mac, not welcome back Cotter, but it might have been. Mortgage rates continue to inch downward this week, but are still significantly higher than last year, affecting affordability and purchase demand. Heading into the summer, the potential buyer pool has shrunk. Supply is on the rise, and the housing market is normalizing. This is welcome news following unprecedented market tightness over the last couple of years. I'd say most of what he said is correct.
Mhm.
Market's been pretty tight.
Yep.
Do you think the buyer pool is shrinking, or is the purchase price of their affordability shrinking?
That's what it is. Some people are just being priced out of it because, now that the interest rates have gone up so much, they can't afford what they could a year ago.
But do you think that that's going to stop them from wanting to buy the house?
No, they just have to be more realistic now in their expectations and reevaluate what they're able to afford.
So that $750 that they were purchasing before might be a $600.
Exactly.
Yeah, that might, or payment assistance. Just throw that out there for you. Just give you that plug. But interest rates now, I'm going to look on here, Mary. I don't know if I want to go there, but yeah, I will. For the most part, you've never seen interest rates this high, have you?
I think this is where it was about when I first started in real estate.
When you first started in real estate.
Yeah, but I've just seen them ever since I started just go downhill.
So you've been on the skiing version. You've never been on the roller coaster.
I've never climbed the hill.
You never climbed the hill. So, you look at this, and current rates, even as we sit right now at 6.09.
Mhm.
Is that where the number was on that chart that I brought up earlier? Josh, you have that chart handy still? Because I'm slow. I think that's where we were at. It's about 5.95. So that's still lower than the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
2010s, okay, we were lower, but point difference.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're higher, but historically, I could tell you a lot of people in real estate most of their careers have said that 4s, 5. We all know about 6, 7, 8s, 18s for me, but that's a different story.
Just
So what?
gauging yourself more.
Exactly. So what does all this mean? I've Mr. Cotter, the chief economist that I just referenced, he's considered an expert, but I think we've now proven that he's not perfect. And I'm going to submit to you that you can go out and get expert advice, but don't expect it to be perfect advice. I don't know anybody that's got a perfect crystal ball. right? You can go to it now. Here's the difference. You can also go and get cheap, crappy cut rate advice, and you're probably going to get what you pay for, right? We've got a slide here that I share many times that basically says advice, you can pay a quarter for it. Okay, that's the online companies. That's Walmart. Good advice, you might have to pay 50 cents. That's Nordstrom. That's going to a professional, a seasoned individual. So I do you know anybody that gives perfect advice?
No.
Right? I mean, you can only give the best advice that you have. So for almost 50 years, the mortgage rate has moved in unison with the 10-year treasury. We're still watching that, a 1.7 spread. And Mary's the real estate expert. I don't know, half the slides this month are all mortgage stuff.
Yeah, it's all you.
but you can throw the color in there as to what your experience has been, right? I mean, because I look at it and I've got way too many decades of time in this. I won't even throw in that I helped my first family with my first loan in 1983. So a lot of people weren't even around then, right? So 1.7 average spread between the 10-year and the 30. Right now we're looking at about a 2.2 spread, maybe a little bit more than that, and widening. So what does this tell us? Well, the Federal Reserve controls more of the federal issues. They control the Fed funds rate. They don't control treasuries, but they control more of it. And they certainly don't control the mortgage rates. So when the Federal Reserve changes their pricing, it doesn't have much of an effect on a mortgage. Those people that have a home equity line of credit, yeah, it affects that. Other areas where you've got adjustable numbers, it affects that. But is it going to affect a correction in housing? Do you think? Now, I guess we should define correction.
Mm-hmm.
Decline of 10% or greater in the price of a security asset or financial market. Do you think we're going to see a 10% decline?
No.
Why?
So I think the past 2 years, everybody has been so accustomed to things just flying off the shelves and like, oh, it goes on the market. There's 30 offers, it's gone in a day. So I think everyone's been so accustomed to that for 2 years. Now that like it's a little bit different, it's taking, 14 days to sell or, 16 days to sell. Everyone thinks the sky's falling. But if you look at it, a seller's market is still 90 days or less. We're still in that period of time where we are still so far to go before we're out of a seller's market. So prices are not falling, they are slowing down. We're not getting that 20% appreciation. We're getting, the normal like 5% appreciation.
Big difference.
Yes. So yeah, it is a huge difference. It's not the market that has been normal for the past 2 years. So it's a huge difference in comparison in the last 2 years, but the sky is not falling.
So when we come back, I want to ask you a question about what you just said there, because the housing days on the market was at what, 4 or 5?
Mm-hmm.
And now it's gone to...
It's like 20 something, I think,
20?
Orange County.
But here's what I want to find out. In a normal market, is there a rule of thumb for realtors as to when they start reducing price? We're going to talk about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. We will also chat a little bit about achieving the American dream of home ownership. Can be more difficult for some Americans. What FICO score do you need to buy a home and more? You can reach me anytime off your number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Linda, we're going to get to that when we come back. You can reach me anytime or off your number. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions, as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrhomescout.com, rsrhomescout.com. Why achieving the American dream of homeownership can be more difficult for some Americans. Today, we take time to honor and recognize the past and present experiences of Black Americans. When it comes to real estate specifically, equitable access to housing has come a long way, but the path to homeownership is still steeper for households of color. The gap in homeownership rate in America, it's a more challenging journey to achieve homeownership for some buyers, as shown by the measurable gap between the overall average U.S. homeownership rate and that of non-white groups. Today, census data shows the lowest homeownership rate persists in the Black community. If you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of the socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, you're seeing a chart of homeownership rate first quarter 2022. U.S. average 65.4%. The graph clearly indicates there's a gap that still exists in the percentage of people in each community who are able to achieve homeownership. How homeownership impacts household wealth. One of the challenges it could be making a home harder for these groups is how difficult it can be to accumulate wealth. Even today, there are obstacles certain racial and ethnic groups, especially the Black community, still face. A recent article from Next Advisor explains, quote, the median Black household earns 61 cents for every dollar earned by a comparable white household, according to the Economic Policy Institute. This not only makes it more difficult to afford a home, but also accumulate and pass on generational wealth, unquote. This can delay or prevent many from achieving homeownership, challenging their ability to grow their net worth and build wealth that can pass down to future generations. A point that's clear in a 2022 report from the National Association of Realtors. Given that homeownership contributes to wealth accumulation and the homeownership rate is lower in minority communities, data shows that the net worth of these groups is also lower at $188,200. The net worth of a typical white family was nearly 8 times greater than that of a Black family, $24,100 in 2019. Important to talk about the experience Black homeowners may have and the challenges they may face as they pursue their dream of homeownership. The inequity that remains in housing can be a point of pain and frustration. That's why it's so important for members of diverse groups to have the right team of experts on their side throughout the home buying process. These professionals aren't only experienced advisors who understand the market and give the best advice. They're also compassionate allies who will advocate for your best interest every step of the way. They can point you to important resources and tools and help you throughout your journey to homeownership. Bottom line, if you have any friends, family, or coworkers looking to buy, sell, or borrow on real estate, have them give us a call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. That's the real-time real estate segment brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrhomescout.com, rsrhomescout.com. So Linda put on here, and she's absolutely correct. There are so many agents and buyers out there who have never experienced double-digit interest rates. Yeah, well, I'm not going to say that those of us who are seasoned, Linda, would remember those. Younger folks, the only double digits they know are the ones to the right of the decimal, not to the left of the decimal. But we won't hold that against them. Just throw that out there.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, something that's, I hope you don't ever see it too.
Same.
Right? I mean, that's a challenge. So before the break, Mary, you made a comment about the properties being on the market as we normalize and being on the market a longer period of time, which is still not very long.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see that? Where would a normal property, or is there such a thing as a normal amount of time someone would wait before they start reducing price on a property if they don't see activity?
There has been a lot of price reductions lately. I would say from what I've seen, it's about the 2-week mark seems to be when people are reducing prices.
Okay. So they're saying, let's give it a couple of weeks and see if we get any real quick takers or get a bidding war. and then we're going to start getting aggressive if we need to be aggressive in selling.
Yeah.
Now, I've been saying for many years that the prices, people are buying because of a family need, not necessarily price or payment or whatever. Getting married, having kids, kids empty nesting. Is that still what you're seeing?
Yeah.
Are you seeing any change? I know in some of the research reports I got last week, the research is showing that the investor market is drying up. Are you seeing that at all?
No, there's still a lot of investments. At least in our office, there's still a lot of investment deals being done right now.
Okay. So the people that are out there, so, sometimes that helps the primary owner get properties if they don't have to compete against an investor.
Yeah.
Right. So it's good or bad. Showings are still going way up, I guess, is what the data is telling us. Showings skyrocketed. Showing time monthly index pre-pandemic, we're way above the pre-pandemic numbers. Now, ironically enough, the highest numbers were during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Right. So you kind of wonder, okay, everybody's shut in, but the showing time numbers. Now, the question I'll throw to you there is, showing time, I guess, is a service where you make a reservation or an appointment to see a property.
Yes.
Do you think the numbers are skewed because during the pandemic you had to make an appointment, and now I seem to see the open house signs are back up again?
I would say they're skewed in both ways. Number one, not all agents use showing time.
Okay.
Like there's so many, I think, homes that I see listed in the MLS that it's like, do not use showing time. I don't use it. Just schedule, contact me, schedule an appointment sort of thing. So I think even just in that way, it's skewed. Okay.
That's good to know. I had no idea about that. I know that if it was me and I was a realtor, I would not be using showing time because it's owned by Zillow, right? And Zillow's mission is to kill realtors. So why would you want to go and use showing time? I just throw that out there. Existing home sales still way above pre-pandemic numbers and still near some historic numbers. So even if they come from 6.1 million is the number from April of 2021, and as of April of 2022, we're projecting 5.6 million. Good number.
Yeah.
And if you've got that many people buying houses, how do you go backwards?
Exactly.
Right? Are we building that many more new properties? I don't see that many.
Yeah.
Right? You
Not
look.
where we are, at least.
No, I mean Orange County. I don't know if they're built. If there's, it takes a lot to build a new house just because of the cost of all the permitting and stuff. Average days on the market, national average 17 days. I mean that's crazy.
Yeah, that's still, we're in a hot seller's market still.
So does that mean I can't negotiate on property then?
No, you definitely still can.
Okay.
I think especially now, sellers are being, I think, a little bit more realistic. They know they're not going to get that bidding war. They're more willing to negotiate a little bit. They're more willing to do what you're sort of saying, like buy down rates and stuff like that to get more for their property if they know that's the deal that's going to be struck.
So there's the point with the payment assistance program is it's a win-win. The seller, what does a seller care about when they're selling a property?
The price they get.
The price.
Yeah, how much is going in my pocket?
How much am I getting in my pocket? Now, I'm the way I don't know the way. Do you see a high percentage of people in your office that are cash transactions?
No, not a lot of
Not
them.
a lot of cash.
No,
So
been
what's
very few lately.
So what's really more important then is affordability, and can I afford the payment?
Yes.
Right. So if the seller might be happy getting a higher price or getting full price, raise it a little bit and give that back to help the buyer make the payment that they want.
Yep.
And obviously we have to deal with the appraisal gap. So that's all in part of the program that we share with you. If you go to rsrpaymentassist.com, you'll be able to see that appraisal taken care of, or the gap, if there is one, taken care of. Average number of offers. Are you still seeing multiple offers?
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're, realistic going into it and you're pricing the property right, yes.
Okay. So if you're going in there and you bought the property last month and you had 100,000 this month,
Yeah,
may not get a lot of offers.
Not going to get crazy there.
Okay, so that's not going to happen. So our crystal ball, let's see if we can figure out what this crystal ball has to say for us today. According to Mike Fratantoni, chief economist at the Mortgage Bankers Association, mortgage rates are likely to plateau. Okay, so we already know about his crystal ball. I think it might have broken. Financial markets have attempted to price in the impact of Fed actions over this cycle, and they're likely also pricing in the economic slowdown that will result. Once we are past this rate spike and associated volatility, MBA expects that potential home buyers may be more willing to re-enter the market. Do you see the home buyers out of the market right now?
I still think there's so many people who are on the sidelines waiting, saying like the sky's falling, it's going to be a huge crash, this and that. But I think once they realize that's not going to come, they're all going to re-enter the market.
So then we're going to get that fear of missing out.
Exactly.
Frenzy.
I think so many people, especially with like the hike in rates, they all took a step back. So they're sort of waiting to see what happens, see if it falls. Once they realize we're just entering a normal market. And I think that's, again, a big job as us as realtors to educate them. The sky's not falling. We're entering a normal market cycle. Rates are normalizing. Like the
something,
acceleration of prices are normal, like slowing down.
and the irony here is your generation has never really seen a normal market.
No.
Right? You saw a crash.
Yes.
And then you saw a boom.
Yeah.
And then you saw a pandemic. Is there something?
I have whiplash here.
Exactly, whiplash. Yeah, it's kind of crazy because you know there is something called a normal market.
Yeah, so I see what they're saying, because if I wasn't surrounded and work in the industry and understood what was going on, I would be thinking the same thing.
Sure. So you get the advantage that you're in the industry, but you're also a millennial, so you see what your friends and peers are thinking, right? So they're looking at it saying, hey, mom and dad lost a boatload when they bought real estate. Do I want to? And is it going to happen again?
Yeah. And the way I look at it, hey, what if the sky does fall? Even if you buy now, if you're holding for 10, 20 years, it's going to go back up. It's okay if it falls a little bit. It's going to go back up.
That's a good point, because 2009 and 10, when the market bottomed out, would it take 5 years till it was pretty much back at?
Yeah. My parents bought right before then, and I watched them all pissed that they lost like $100,000 in equity all of a sudden. We just sold their property last year, and they had, I think they got 50% like return, like they sold it for 150% more than
they bought it for. And how long did they hold it for, roughly?
It was about 10-ish, a little bit more, about 12 years, I guess.
About 12 years.
Yeah.
So they held it 12 years and made 50% extra on their money.
Yeah.
Not bad. Right. And did they get out of the market, or did they go back and buy something else?
Well, yeah, they went back, bought in Texas.
Okay. So they wanted to
One
move.
of the Californians fleeing.
They wanted to move to America. I get it.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. So I shouldn't say that. We'll get in trouble there. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, as usual, we're going to just give you a little bit of a blurb on your credit matters or liability management. We'll leave the story for tomorrow. You can reach me anytime off air, number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report, it's wrong. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer has the solution for you. I want to throw something real quick liability management, a liability advisor. So Mary made a comment in the last segment, and I want to use that as part of it. It's obviously not planned because I didn't know she was going to say it. So her parents actually bought a property at the height of the market in 2006, 2007, somewhere in there.
2007, I think.
Something like that. Got it. Okay, maybe, I don't know, but maybe if you believe that we're at the height of the market today in 2022, if you bought your house 2 years ago, you've probably gained about 30% in equity. So a $300,000 house is now worth roughly $400,000. A little more than that, 4.25. My point here is, what if you take that equity out of your property right now, even at a high price, high interest rate? If you take that money out of your property, $100,000, you already had a down payment before. So say, just throwing round numbers, you have $100,000 you can pull out of your property right now. And you take that and put it on the sidelines. And the property values do drop. Don't think they will, but if they did, do you think you have to give that money back? No. You can actually, if those property values drop, can I use that money to go buy a new house?
Definitely.
Right? So now you've got an investment property. One of the best investors in the history of investing is Warren Buffett. His comment is, buy when there's blood in the streets. So if property values were to drop, and I don't think they will, now's the time to be buying property, not getting on the sidelines. Harvest your cash. I know a gentleman locally here in North Orange County. Since 1965, he's always harvested cash and bought restaurants when the market went down. And now he owns about, 30 or 40 of one brand, and I think 10 or 15 Kentucky Fried Chickens and some A&W root beers and all these different brands. Why? Because he took advantage of the market. He understood that. That's the Your Credit Matters segment, brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. You have a credit report, it's wrong. What are you doing about it? Experts don't believe the market's in a bubble or a crash is in the cards. Like during the Great Recession, the nation is still suffering from a housing shortage that has reached crisis proportions at a time when many millennials are reaching the age when they start to consider home ownership. That's likely to keep prices high, according to Realtor.com. Millennial generation is the second largest generation we've come across, next to the Great Generation. A lot of your friends thinking about buying houses now?
Yeah, I mean, I have friends on both ends of the spectrum where some are like, yes, now is the time to buy, and some are, no, we're waiting for the market to crash. But I think the longer they wait, the more it's just going to go up. I actually saw a statistic over the weekend that I think it was like in Texas. It was Texas specific, but 30% of all homes in Texas last year were bought by corporations. So if the millennials aren't going to buy them, the corporations are, and the corporations are going to keep driving those prices up.
Yeah, corporations aren't buying because they think they're going down.
No,
they've got to right there. They're greedy. That's what they're supposed to do, right? So follow some of those leads. So I've been talking about a recession. There is a recession on the horizon. Most people don't understand it. A recession is only defined as a recession when the National Bureau of Economic Research says it's a recession, right? So they're the group that calls balls and strikes here. Now, many people seem to think, which the common is 2 negative quarters of GDP is the easy way of identifying a recession. But according to this, a significant decline in economic activity spread across the economy lasting more than a few months, normally visible in real GDP, real income, employment, industrial production, and wholesale retail sales. Well, we're not seeing a lot of that. But what I really want to get to is recession. It's on the way. There will be a recession. The Federal Reserve wants a recession. They're doing everything they can to create a recession. They want to get the inflation under control. But what does that mean for real estate? Big question of the day for Mary. Does a recession mean that real estate values are going to drop?
No.
Simple answer, no. 1, 2, 3. We've got 6 recessions in the last, 40 years?
Yes.
And I'm going to say that only one of them had a real estate value drop.
Yeah, a significant one.
But see, that's where I'm going to challenge you, Mary.
Oh,
I think the only one that had a real estate value drop was in 1991,
really?
and it only went down 1.9%.
Okay, so what's the 2008 one then?
2008, the recession did not cause real estate values to drop.
The
Real
real
estate
estate
values caused a recession,
Mm-hmm.
right? You had the whole mortgage meltdown.
Got me there.
Right? You have this mortgage meltdown,
Mm-hmm.
and the mortgage meltdown pushed real estate values down. And when people lost money because they weren't prudent in their purchases.
Yeah.
Right. And we're prudent right now. You can't go get a loan by fogging a mirror.
No, I wish.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But so in 2008, even though property values did drop 19.7%, it was real estate causing a recession. And I don't think we get that message out enough.
Mm-mm.
Right. So even in 2020, when we had a minimal recession, it was pretty light, 6% appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
So real estate values go up in a recession. So I'm going to suggest, if the thing that we don't show in the chart, what happens a year after the recession? So the year of the recession, real estate values are going up. Well, the year after that, we're starting to see interest rates drop,
Mm-hmm.
which then spurs people to buy real estate, right?
Yep.
So, and that's the idea. That's what the Federal Reserve is trying to do. They're increasing the Fed funds rate to get in the inflation under control. Getting inflation under control will cause a recession. Causing the recession will cause interest rates to drop because they want to get the economy going again.
Just, again, whiplash.
Exactly. So Mary's back to getting whiplash over here, right? We've been doing that all morning for her. So just a couple of issues for you from that. Real estate is going to continue to appreciate. The market, we hope, will normalize,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, 20% is not a sustainable number.
No.
The builders out there, they can't build it fast enough. We need 1.4 million units just from builders every year. They're not building that many units. We don't have that many units available. We're still about a third of the units available on the market, even in existing home sales. Last number I saw was a little over, I think it was 390,000 units on the market in 2019. Would that be fair to say that that's probably the last normal market we had?
Yeah.
Right? Pre-pandemic, we had about 1 million units, million houses available for sale. So we're, 40% of that right now. When you have that much of a shortage of supply, and you've got the millennials all getting older and
Whoa.
getting so okay, you're too young to start worrying about age yet, Mary. Millennials are getting older. They're getting married,
Mm-hmm.
having kids, starting their own journey, their own family, their own desires, getting out of mom and dad's basement or vice versa, right? So they want their own place. As that continues to happen, that increases the demand.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of your friends getting married?
Yeah.
Kind of happens that way when it's kind of, I don't know, it's like dominoes or something. It's contagious.
A little bit.
Yeah, right. When one gets married, and it kind of gets, I don't want to be left out, right? One buys a house. I don't want to be left out. I'll just throw this at you. One has kids. I don't want to be left out, right? That's the way our friends were when way back when, right? So it's the families grow, the housing desires, the housing needs grow. Now, I don't know anybody that says, well, you know something, housing prices are up, so I'm not going to have kids. Interest rates are up. I'm not going to have kids. You heard that one?
No.
Right? It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to do what you're going to do, what's right for you and your family.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to go and say, okay, well, I got kids. I need a bigger house.
Yep.
The one bedroom or the studio isn't cutting it anymore, or isn't going to cut it. We need something a little bigger. We're growing. We want a different school district,
Mm-hmm.
closer to work, further from work, right? Security issues,
Mm-hmm.
right? What am I missing? What other ones are people are talking about?
No, that all plays a huge factor. Yeah, exactly.
Right? That's the important things. It's not a matter of the Federal Reserve is going to increase interest rates for the next 12 sessions. I better hurry up and have a kid. Never heard that.
No.
Right? So think about how do you solve those? You get advice, right? You call Mary and you say, you know something, Mary, I can't buy that $700,000 house. I need the 600. People doing that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right? I mean, you may not get it in the same exact neighborhood you wanted. You might have to move 5 miles here or there.
Yeah.
But the properties are available. I saw one that just came on the market over the weekend for $389,000 in Corona.
Mhm.
Probably a pretty good starter price, right?
Definitely.
Right? Go buy that to start out. If you're newlywed, that might be the place. Pre-newlywed, that might be the place. Then take that 100,000 out of it when you've 3, 4, 5 years. I'm
Mhm.
not going to say you're going to get that next year like we did last year.
No.
Hope not. Right? But the bottom line is we're going to still have those same issues going forward,
Mhm.
where people are going to have those desires. And I hear so often, especially on social channel, maybe you hear this. There's no way I'm going to ever afford a house.
Mhm.
You hear that from millennials?
Oh, all the time.
What do you tell them?
Oh, oh, that's a hard one. I mean, I think everybody can afford something. You just have to see what you can afford. You might not be able to afford the $700,000 house you want, but like you said, can you afford the $300,000 condo that you can start in? So
Right.
everyone can afford something. It's, can you afford 200,000? Can you afford 500,000? What can you afford?
And then would you say it's right to say that maybe you want a game plan
Definitely.
to get to where you want to be?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, how many times have I sent you someone like, hey, they're probably not going to buy, but they need to know where they're at right now.
Right.
And they haven't ended up buying, but it helped them to know, okay, I can afford something. It's just not what I want. So
Yeah.
they have to put a game plan in place.
There you go. It's all about the game plan. I don't know if you have what your credit scores are today. Doesn't matter. I don't know what you're going to afford today. It doesn't matter. I don't know what your down payment availability is today. It doesn't matter. There's 352 down payment assistance programs just in the state of California. 352 was the last number I looked at last month. I don't know which ones you qualify for. I don't know if you qualify for any of them. I don't know if you even need any of them. But you get started with a consultation,
Mhm.
right? Start with a consultation, figure out where you are, where you want to be, not just today and tomorrow, but I use this analogy all the time. I went to Chapman College. When Jim Doty took over, he had a 5-year and a 10-year plan always, and everybody knew what that 5-year and 10-year plan was, right? Do you and your fiance have a 5 and 10-year plan? Know what you want?
Loosely, yeah.
What you want in the future?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So you've sat down and you've had these conversations.
Mhm.
Everybody should do the same thing. I'm hoping to be here in 10 years. Maybe not doing the radio show, but that's a whole different story.
I'll be doing it for you.
You can do it for me, Mary. There you go. And as always, we ask you set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Special thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.